Hey everybody, this is Talkative Carl back again for another video game spoiler review. I recently wrapped up Diablo 4, so I want to break down my, brief thoughts on the game as a whole. Now, it's from Blizzard, and I played my fair share of Blizzard properties over the years, but more so with Overwatch. I think I got more into Overwatch in terms of a Blizzard franchise than almost any other Blizzard property I can think of. I never even had an interest in this. Is the first Diablo game I ever even touched. I was familiar and I've seen certain things with Diablo, but when I was a little kid, I remember Diablo was like a PC type of game only, or like it was your typical MMO type of game. I never played I played PC games before, but it's not like my go-to thing. I had to get and set up like some kind of on my computer to play the whole rigmarole. Never really had an interest or want to go through all that crap just to play a PC game. Either some will argue that playing a game via PC is better quality. I'm not going to argue that point. It is, been proven time and time again that is the case. But more often than not, I'm just cool with having like a console. That's perfectly fine with me. That's just me. So like it's just like with World of Warcraft. It's kind of odd because World of Warcraft, D&D, Diablo, they all have those kind of same mechanics. I played games that have those similar mechanics before, but it's kind of odd because like I try again to like it was in my mid-20s, early 20s. I know I was probably still in college at the time, and I tried at one point to go online and start like a character for World of Warcraft. I think it was around that time when it was like doing that panda theme, sometime after like a Kung Fu Panda came out, all those years ago. But I played it for a couple hours one day and then just didn't bother to go back to it since. I just, it's just some things that might have similar mechanics that I played in other games before, but the specific game in particular, I just could not get into it. It just wasn't my thing. Although there's been cases where like Borderlands. Borderlands is a good example. The first Borderlands game I played was Borderlands 2 because for all the rollout for it and all the commercials and E3 events and all the behind the scenes gameplay, all that stuff got me super interested because the character Zero, I was like, oh my god, this is looking pretty dope, and all these different kind of weapons and all this other stuff. It's like I got very heavily invested. But what really got me invested is just the world as a whole. That's why, like, I know they're making like a Borderlands movie. I'm not sure when that freaking thing come out because you haven't heard anything from that in a long time. But I think I prefer because the world of Borderlands is so massive, and it's, so much lore behind every little thing with all these cool characters. It's too much for even like a 2-hour movie, let alone an hour and a half. I think it probably would have served better as like a TV show, if anything else, so you would have more to work with for like at least a handful of seasons. And then once they start introducing things like aliens in outer space, that's adds a whole nother level to it. And I just got like super invested, and like like I said, the characters, the villains, everything seems I just super engaged. But I didn't get that kind of feeling with the same thing. I got that same feeling with like Overwatch 2. Everybody, I think I got into Overwatch maybe like a year and a half after it came out, and it's like everybody was talking about it, everybody was super invested, and I'm like, okay, what's this game? Because like I played the trial then it's like I got like really invested because I love the character Tracer. She was the first character I tried out. But then it's like, okay, I gotta buy the game because like, dude, this is really really dope. So yeah, those are good. Borderlands 2 and Overwatch, or at least Borderlands as a whole, and then Overwatch is the games that as a perfect examples of something like I didn't have any interest in, but I got hooked because of the expansive roster of characters and the story behind everything. That's what like, and then how they roll it out and marketed it. You got like with Overwatch, you had those little short mini kind of like mini movies with each character, and you just find you also get to know a little bit more about the world as a whole. It's like that's how you get people invested. Something like, and not like these other games like Diablo 4 or like World of Warcraft never had that kind of same stuff, but it's just those never got that gave me that feeling. So to circle back with Diablo 4, a friend of mine was telling me about it all through the fall last year, and I was like, I saw it was on like a discounted price. I think it was around Black Friday or Cyber Monday. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm paying like it's pretty much half off essentially. So I paid like a little over $40 for this game. Fine, I downloaded it. I wasn't playing anything else around that time. Nothing else new was coming out. I think something was coming out by the end of the year, but it was like a large gap in between. I was like, you know what? I got time. Whatever. I tried it out. So like I did my bit of research about because you get to choose certain characters. I chose a sorcerer, but I also thought the necromancer was pretty dope too. That would have been like my second choice because one of the recent Borderlands game, or at least the last one, I should say, had like, hey Emily, I think the last Borderlands game had like a necromancer type of a character, which I think they had some kind of, I don't know if they had like a magician thing. I can't remember. It's been a long time. I'm doing fine. But I just like, okay, I'm trying the necromancer thing because it's got more variety of stuff that was kind of interesting. So, but this game had like a warrior, like a not a ranger or a thief, not thief, scout, something like that. But I stuck with a sorcerer because I usually go with magician types in these type of games. And so pretty much like the story is this, and it's get kind of graphic in certain cinematic experiences or stories. But this demon Lilith is brought on Earth and causing like havoc in his land, I guess Sanctuary, I think it's called Sanctuary. And your character meets up with this guy named Lorath, who, and a bunch of other people you meet along the way. Like this, what's your favorite game? I have a lot of favorite games, man. It's like, because I know I made a video of all of my favorite games a long time ago, like my ultimate favorite games, but just like I'll give you like a top of my head, some of the Spider-Man games, more specifically like the first one, Darksiders 2, Borderlands, let's go with Borderlands 2, Devil May Cry 4 and 5. I love those games. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and 3 is up there. Super Street Fighter 4, and more recently 6 is pretty high up there too. Yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of Marvel. Crap. Well, That's just like, the quick stuff off the top of my head, like my favorite games. That like, Dante's Inferno. That's another one. That's like tippy top of my favorite game. I love playing that freaking game. Deadpool game. Love that one too. Anyway, so you meet up with these, Spider-Man. Spider-Man is my favorite hero because that's why I got him as like my profile. So you meet up with all these different individuals, like Duran, who's a king in this other part of the kingdom of Sanctuary. It's very like Game of Thronesy in a way. Thanks for the follow, Alicia Jacob. How you doing? How you doing? So the land is very Game of Thronesy, and I hate to say that because it's kind of like, FF7, the original and the remake. That's another favorite games of mine. Also 10 and 15. I only bring that up now because it just reminded me, because like I'm about to say, like it's very Game of Thronesy, but FF16 was super heavy Game of Thronesy. Thank you. Sanctuary, you see like the world map is super Game of Thrones. Is like different regions and everything like that. I didn't explore all the places. Why are you a fan of Tom Holland and this one? I like each of the Spider-Man for different reasons, but I think I like Tom Holland because he's probably slightly more accurate. Well, I agree with a lot of people. It's like, Andrew Garfield was like a pitch perfect, Spider-Man for himself, but his, Peter Parker is like supposed to be like a nerd. It just like, no, you're too cool looking to be a nerd. And then I think Tobey Maguire was like a pitch perfect Peter Parker, but Spider-Man was lacking in certain areas. But I think like Tom Holland was a good blend between the two. But I like them all, honestly, for a lot of different reasons. That's why Spider-Man No Way Home is my all-time favorite movie of all time. Point blank, period. Cause I went to see the movie twice in the theater. Honestly, I didn't want to go into a whole spiel about that, because you can watch on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/talkingofcarl. I talk about my review of Spider-Man No Way Home, so you can get all my thoughts there, because I don't want to bog down. This is like a Diablo 4 review of my experience with the game, so I don't want to get bogged down with too many other things. It's an exercise bike. Because I wanted to get, I got that years ago because I want to, because it's cold out right now. So when it gets like this, I ain't gonna feel like going all the way to the gym like I usually do during the spring or summertime. So, I want to at least have something to do at home so I don't feel like I'm slacking a bit. But as soon as it gets warmer out, trust and believe, I want to go back to the gym. I really need to go back to the gym. I'm getting a gut right now. Anyway, so your character, whoever you choose, because you choose male or female or what class you want to go to, you are you meet up with this kind of demon wolf, what turns out to be Mephisto. And every time I hear that word, I know it's in like some biblical reference, realistically, but every time I hear the word Mephisto, I can't help but think about the Marvel demon named Mephisto. And some say like, oh, he's like the Marvel's version of the devil, but if you look further into it, there's subsections of hell, and each one has like a different ruler. There's actually one person that actually is named Lucifer, and then there's like another being called the one below all. I think that's super convoluted, and of course Marvel back in the day did not want to actually, because don't want to freak out the Christian religious group, so they have to, you know, come up with like a different character without using the actual, like, you know, Christian God or Christian devil. They just came up with their own thing. So that's why we got, like, and if you look it up on the Marvel wiki, the one above all is God, technically, for the Marvel universe, and he actually kind of looks like Keanu Reeves. That's why I always fight for, like, if you want to put Keanu Reeves in the MCU, he has to be the one above all, because he looks the way they drew him in that comic, you know, a couple of times, very much look like Keanu Reeves. What did you do besides? What do you do? I'm assuming that's what you mean. What you do besides streaming? Like I, you know, am an actor. Well, like I'm, you know, only like starting out, because I played an extra in a thing. Not even sure where it's you know, viewed or anything like that. But primarily, I auditioned for like voiceover roles. That's why I got all this equipment and everything like that. But I have like a day job also to make sure like bills are paid and what have you. But you know, when I can, I stream you know, video games and you know, review. If you go on my like Patreon and YouTube channel and stuff like that, it explains that, you know, all the stuff that I stream and make videos of. No, sorry, Alicia. Like, I get, like, you know, people pop in to offer their, you know, request to do some design for me. Is okay. Okay. Anyway. So. My throat is dry as hell. So so the demon Lilith has caused, like, you know, just havoc on the lands. And you meet up with this character, Mephisto, who turns out to be her father, but you don't know that yet until like halfway through the game. And he shows up as kind of like in this kind of avatar form of a demon wolf that has like a, you know, half his face, you know, shown like a skull. So he essentially guiding you or get you out of tight spots. But you also meet with this girl named Niel, whose mom got influenced by Lilith, because Lilith's, you know, like many demons and demon kind of lore and everything like that, they can have like a forked silver tongue kind of thing to influence wayward people with shaky beliefs or whatnot, or just, you know, encourages the more, you know, negative parts of the human psyche or frailty, and amplifies that. Like, there's this church where a bunch of the congregation just turn on the priest and just very like Julius Caesar all start stabbing him to death. It was intense. But also she has a right hand named Elias, who was previously a student of Lorath. So Lorath is heavily invested because Elias was the one responsible of raising Lilith. So and then Niel's mom got influenced by Lilith and gained access to, you know, a certain dungeon and what have you. So you meet up with all these people, and on this quest, you know, of course, aside from like the side quests and everything like that, you see like the horrible influence. A lot of these people got affected by Lilith's and Elias's influence throughout the land. Like, one of this other person you meet up with is kind of like a witch who helps Duran get through his trauma, because he had a son who wants to fight on the front lines. Duran doesn't want his son getting involved because his only son, but he doesn't want to cuddle him, because so he wants to, he like, okay, I gotta let my son grow up, I can't shelter him. But then he ends up getting turned into like a demon, Astaroth, I think it is, by Lilith. So you end up having to kill this demon thing, and then but as a result, the kid dies. It's a lot of bittersweet kind of stuff going on into the narrative here. It's a little more hopeful than you see in Dark Souls, but it's just like, you rarely get happy endings in certain cases. But the witch had a mentor who you would think knew better, but also got influenced by Lilith and causing like havoc on some kind of mountain region, and pretty much led her people to, like lambs to the slaughter. It's like survival of the fittest kind of mentality, where it's like those who manage to rise up are meant for something, and those who aren't, oh well. It's just intense. Lilith's caused like a bloody, making like a bloody path across this continent. Oh, another good, my favorite game, sorry, it just popped in my head. Ghost of Tsushima is another one. So we've been like just dragging our heels, because we always be one step behind Lilith. And we also meet up with this angel named Anarius, who is just like a complete dick, because he somehow, maybe it's like further deeper into the lore of Diablo 4, he's somehow responsible in creating humanity, and that was his sin. So that's where he's not allowed back into heaven, and nobody's in heaven answers him, because I guess he wasn't supposed to create humanity, but never explained how he did it. But it's also explained into the game that he and Lilith hooked up and had like a kid who is kind of like a mystic or prophet or something like that. But he held a key to this gate that Lilith unlocks, because she wants to kill her father, steal his power, and rule not only the earthly plane but hell itself. So Daenerys ends up killing his own kid in the process, which shows like there's rarely any good people, morally ambiguous individuals for the most part, ranging from like morally ambiguous to like all out just evil. There's no righteous Captain America type in this game at all. I think it kind of fits given like how the world works here. So I like this scene. Like, I think if I have like a favorite part of the game is where like the witch helps Duran through this kind of like potion or something he drinks to he sees visions of his dead son, and because they need him to help create the soul stone in order to trap Lilith inside. But we end up using on Mephisto, which I want to talk about in a minute. But he can't fix the soul stone because his heart is not into it, because he's still grieving. So I love the part where he's like having to come to understand that his son made a choice as a grown man and he shouldn't beat himself up over it. I think that probably was like my favorite part out of the entire game, narrative wise. But they ended up using the Soul Stone. Well, at least Narelle did. I have mixed feelings about that because yeah, he's a demon too, and he even said to himself, which is very honest, considering he's a demon. It's like for right, he's telling your character, like, for right now, our interests align. We can't allow Lilith to steal my power because it will, it'll go against my ambitions in the future. But you also don't want Earth to be consumed either. Like, I'm your healthy balance, essentially. Like, I can keep the status quo, but you end up having like Narelle make the choice, and I'm thinking to myself, like, well, you kind of want to stop Lilith now because she's like the more pertinent enemy now, and at least Mephisto will be a threat in the future, so you can deal with that. We can prepare and deal with that later on. But we need to get rid of this person now because it's like the devastation and the havoc she's wreaking right now is just insane at this point. But Narelle, I'm kind of jumping the gun here, but Narelle ends up like seeing this big bubble of demon entity of Mephisto traps inside the Soul Stone, and your character just kills Lilith. Which I guess it works out. But then Narelle just goes AWOL with that Soul Stone to parts unknown, leaving a note behind saying that she just, got a task to do. I'm not sure what it is, but she's taking that thing while the Wolf Mephisto is, at least some part of him still remains probably at a weakened state, but have like this, it's never explained why he still has this wolf avatar following her around, and like, while she's traveling to parts unknown to do God knows what with that Soul Stone. Never explain why or what she's intended to do. Maybe it will explain in a future Diablo game. I'm not sure. That part was a little confusing. The skill set at least the ones I use, is pretty dope. I think I love using like, the Hydra, Blizzard combo, and of course like the Meteor for a while. Help kind of, because unless you're playing with people, that was a benefit to me because it kept a lot of people off my back while I charge up my mana, so that way I can deal out enough damage while at the same time building up the mana to fire off new damage, because I needed somebody to keep me those things off my back, and it bailed me out so many times. I think the Hydra was a huge benefit to me for the long run, but I kind of wish there was a little bit more open slots. I'm being a little greedy because in some cases you only get 5 slots like you do in order to utilize certain spells, because I had like an ice shield and like your common attack that doesn't cost anything to shoot out to build up more mana. But I don't know, it seems kind of greedy, but I kind of wish it has like another slot, so because I like that Meteor, but I had to swap something out to use another thing. But the skill tree thing was very, very good. It's like I like the way it looked, and like all things you can like kind of switch around. And another thing, you can like swap out different things that you bought and refund just a cost of a certain gold, because you get a lot of gold in this. You can refund a point so you can apply it to another thing that you probably would have preferred better. That is a huge benefit for me, because you rarely get games like that where you can just take back a point that you don't really need for a particular skill that you thought you probably needed. So I think like once you get halfway up the skill tree, you get a chance to kind of swap out certain things and pick and choose what. I think by the time I got to my ice shield skill tree part is when I realized, okay, I don't really need this, but can you put that point to something else that's useful to beef up other things that I utilize a lot more. So I think that was so useful, because you don't necessarily have to commit to a lot of these skills, which is very rare. What else? That priestess, or not a priestess, or kind of like, the clergy, this, black bald woman. Like I said, morally ambiguous. You start off thinking like, oh, she has everybody's best interest at heart, but because this angel saved her life, she became like the devout pope essentially, and pretty much led her, the military into slaughter in hell essentially. But then, lo and behold, you think you have to fight Aenarius at some point, but he gets killed off by Lilith in a sneak attack kind of situation. And I was like, wow, did not see that one coming. You don't even know what, because Duran and Lorath helped her, and she, left hell. So you don't know where her mindset is at all after all this stuff. But yeah. Oh, what else? I think I pretty much covered as much as I can. It was going to be kind of brief video anyway, but I really want to talk about this because as much as I enjoy my time playing this game, if I'm completely honest, I don't see myself playing any future Diablo games. I just wanted to sit there and just try it out because I got a recommendation from a friend of mine who enjoyed these games more so and is more familiar with these games more so than I am. So I took his word for it because I trust his word on this kind of thing. I reached out to him and let him know like I finished the game, thought it was cool, want to hear his thoughts. He haven't got to me yet. I think he's like on a trip or something right now, but I don't know, it's like unlike Overwatch 2 and Borderlands, where it's like, again, I at first did not have any interest in, but once I tried it out, I got hooked into the whole world. I didn't get that same feeling with Diablo 4. I don't see myself buying another Diablo game. I have fun with this, but it's kind of like watching a movie that you thought was pretty cool, but you'll never return back to it afterward, ever again. Like the movie Joker for me. As much as I didn't think we need like a Joker origin movie, I had to swallow my pride and admit, like, okay, this movie is actually pretty good, even though I don't think it was needed, and I just kind of hope it bombed in some level. But it's like, damn it, she actually is pretty good. But I don't see myself ever watching it ever again, because it's pretty much just Taxi Driver with the Joker anyway. And I'm not seeing the sequel either, because I don't really give a crap, honestly. But it's kind of like that. It's like I'm glad I played it, but I don't see myself returning to it ever again. But yeah, I mean, those are like pretty much my overall quick thoughts on Diablo 4. It's not terrible. I think like the cinematic was really good. I think like they balanced out the cinematic portion and the gameplay portion very well, because I look at something like FF16, I think the bulk of that game was just pretty much cinematic stuff that probably lasted a little bit longer than it needed to be. And it's like, you pretty much wanted to, I think the developers wanted to make a movie more so than a freaking game, because most of the stuff was cinematic movies essentially, or scenes. And games like Diablo 4 or even like the recent Spider-Man game, it had like a good balance of seamless cinematic content woven into the game narrative, and they lasted just as long as they needed to. I think that I think I always appreciate that. I think a lot of people appreciate that. Nothing seemed too wonky in terms of game mechanics. I think everything seems pretty polished. I didn't get any kind of glitches outside of something on my side, not on the game side, where it's like the internet kind of got screwed up, so it kind of puts you out of the game, even though I'm technically playing offline, but I guess it's automatically online because you see certain people who's also playing the game showing up here and there. A couple of times early on in my playthrough, they pop in to help me out on a particular kind of like a mission or a special event that I was popping up in. So it's kind of like Destiny 2, in a sense. Which, by the way, I kind of want to get back into. That's another game I think would benefit from a TV show, because there's so much in that world that you can make a solid TV show out of. Should go back into it, as a matter of fact. I did miss that. Anyway, those are my overall thoughts on Diablo 4. I don't know if you guys played it, but if you did, let me know what you guys think. Like and subscribe, share this with your friends. Follow me on youtube.com/talkative Carl. Check out my Patreon if you have certain suggestions you want to further support the channel. You can subscribe to my Patreon, patreon.com/talkative Carl. If you have certain suggestions, check out my tier list. The lowest tier is just like $1. You can put like a certain suggestion for a certain review that I will put on the list, and early access, and Patreon members get early access, all that stuff. Anywho, I will see you guys later in the week. I'm nearly done with my X-Men Age of Apocalypse comic. That I'm nearly done, and it's gonna be like my longest comic book review that I've done so far on this channel, because there's so much I have to get through. So I'm pretty sure by the end of the week I'm hoping Thursday, but more than likely maybe Saturday, I'll have it at the ready. Also, season 1 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5, I'll have at the ready by the end of the week, more than likely too. So those will be the next 2 reviews by this week. Then next week I'll have 3 movies that I want to review before February comes around, and I have a bunch of romantic / Black History Month type of films that I want to cover for the month of February. But anywho, I will see you guys later on. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for stopping by, and take care. Be warm if you're in a cold climate. Hopefully you're not out there in this crazy weather. And I'll see y'all soon. Peace.